My name is Chris Monnier. I'm a Mornington Peninsula-based artist. Okay, so I've been gigging actively for about the last 30 years, so all sorts of venues, Melbourne, Australia and the world. I've been very blessed and lucky with my career. I've taken a bit of a hiatus, so I'm literally coming out of that. I've probably spent 5 or 6 years away from music a little bit, just doing fill-ins because I was working on a fishing show, hosting that. But now I'm back into drumming and trying to get back into it in a big way. All these years of gigging has taught me a few things about cymbals, and it's really taught me what I like and what I don't like. My selection in cymbals has really evolved over the years. I've gone for bigger cymbals. I guess I've become more of a dynamic player. I guess the last couple of years getting back into it, I've been working in a wide array of venues, from wineries and breweries and stuff, all the way up to big packed pubs and even some big corporate venues. So the way I see a cymbal, as we get bigger, we get lower in pitch, but we also get more of a range. I find with smaller cymbals, the range is a lot narrower that you're going to get in volume. I'm not talking about anything to do with other than volume, but yeah, with big cymbals, I'm able to really lay into them and pull a lot out of them. I'm also able to lay right back, because a lot of the calls I'm getting are for blues things, small venues, and really, I really like the fact that you're able to really wash them out and play them quietly. Through the 90s, I think everyone was using a lot, and early 2000s, everyone was using smaller cymbals, 13-inch hats, 16, 18s, 20 rides. From my perspective, I was nowhere near as dynamic a player as I am now. For me, it was about playing big and loud and doing all that sort of stuff, and maybe it's a little bit of age that's helped me to develop the dynamic side of things. But yeah, I'm sort of going with 20, 21-inch crashes. My smallest crash is an 18. My rides are 20 or 21, depending on what I'm doing, or a 22 as well. And I'm going to 15-inch hats. I'm finding them just a little bit easier to just get the right sort of dynamic range out of. One of the things that we're really good at as drummers is getting our sound from behind the kit. For us, you know, this is how I love my cymbals to sound, but it's very, very rare that we get out the front from the point of view of the audience or the bandmates and hear what the cymbals actually sound like. One bit of feedback I never listened to in my early career, which was probably a big mistake. A lot of guys, a lot of bandmates would be telling me, oh, my ears are ringing, those cymbals are too loud. And I just thought it was part of playing drums. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is try and understand not just your own perspective and how they throw back at you, but how your sound projects forward to punters and your bandmates. One of the first myths that I have touched on a little bit earlier is that large cymbals are loud. If you're playing in a loud band, you should have big, large cymbals, and that's the way to do it. It's not necessarily the case. Quite often it's about the frequency that the cymbal's producing. If you want to actually cut through music, sometimes smaller cymbals are better. It's all about the style of music and what you want to achieve from those cymbals. So my best piece of advice is to go into your cymbal selection with an open mind. Don't go in and say, oh, I'm going to use an 8-inch crash, I'm going to use a 16 or a 20. Go in and just use your ears. Try a big range of different cymbals. One of the common myths I've heard over the years is that people think breaking cymbals or cracking cymbals is kind of normal, that they're a consumable piece of equipment. I'm here to tell you that it is actually not normal to break cymbals. There's a couple of things at play here. One, if you're breaking cymbals regularly, go and see a drum teacher, get your technique sorted out. There's a way to play cymbals, and the other thing to remember on the back of that, a lot of people say, oh, you know, I really wanted to hit an accent or there's only so hard you can hit a cymbal before it just chokes out and you're not going to get any more volume out of it. So with regard to hitting cymbals, this might be fairly elementary, but it's probably targeted at you if you are a cymbal breaker. So when we hit a cymbal, we're really trying to sweep across it. See what I did there? I swept across the cymbal. If you're playing directly into the cymbal and you're really putting impact behind it, there is a good chance you will crack a cymbal. Now, the other thing to remember with your cymbals, never, ever, ever screw them down too tight, because the cymbal needs to move. One of the things to remember, a cymbal creates sound by movement. If you look at the frequency waves of the cymbal, it's actually the movement. So the cymbals need to move freely on the kit. So don't ever clamp your cymbals down tight. Even if you think they're too ringy, it means you've probably got the wrong cymbals. Don't clamp them down tight because you'll damage them. The other thing to remember, if they are too ringy, you can always put a moon gel in underneath the bell or something like that, just to take a little bit of that ring off them. But yeah, definitely don't clamp them down and don't play straight into them. So one of the other things to be aware of with cymbal damaging and cracking is when you're selecting cymbals, I know the current trend is around using thin, sort of papery, washy sort of cymbals, but just be aware that less material, the thinner the cymbal, the more likely it can be to crack. But that said, they are often by nature a little bit more flexible, so that kind of contradicts itself there. All right, so if you do want to get a bit more volume and cut out of your cymbals, potentially go for brighter cymbals and even a bit thicker. So this is the first set of reds that I actually bought. Perfect on big gigs. So this setup is 15-inch hi-hats, 21-inch crash, 22-inch ride, 18-inch crash, and I sometimes use a 10-inch splash as well. So I guess my two setups are identical. The only thing that's different is the series. The dark Maestro setup that I use actually most of the time, 15-inch hi-hats, 20-inch crash, 20-inch ride, and an 18-inch crash, and I sometimes use a 10-inch splash as well. I have absolutely fallen in love with this series. Many years of playing, I've played other cymbal brands and stuff, but one of the things that really drew me to Red Cymbals is that it's an Australian company. They're not made in Australia, they're made in Turkey, but the fact that it's a small business, Dylan and Lisa are beautiful people. I hope you're not listening, Dylan, because I don't want you to get a big head or anything like that. But I guess the cymbals are absolutely magnificent. I love the fact that Dylan went out on his own, took a chance, started a business. That really resonates with me. The other thing, apart from the fact that the cymbals are absolutely magnificent, and he's also doing some drum sheds, which, for those of you who don't know, really working on building the drumming community with the emphasis around, us as drummers all getting to know each other, reaching out to each other, and the emphasis on looking after each other's mental health, because that's really important to me. So thank you very much for watching. I hope it's been informative. I just really wanted to give just a casual chat around my cymbals and my beliefs on red and cymbals and stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and all the best with your drumming endeavours. Hopefully see you out there at a shed soon.